Halfway through the first day of the Millennium Magic Weekend here in Cardiff as the 2011 Super League season, Super League 16 bursts to life. Two great games to come right now. After wins for Huddersfield against Warrington and the Quins against the Catalan Dragons, two clubs facing a battle for Super League survival this year. At least that's what some will tell you. It's the Castleford Tigers against the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. A real full-blooded local derby. And first of all, we'll check on the Castleford team. They've got Richie Mathers making his debut for them at fullback. And it's Kirk Dixon, Brett Ferris, Joe Arundel and Nick Youngquest. Rangi Chase and Danny Orr returns and captains the side. The forwards, it's Jake Emmett, Ryan Hudson and Craig Hubie, Oliver Holmes, Steve Snitch, Stuart Jones. And the bench is occupied for Castleford by Paul Jackson, Jonathan Walker, Dean Widders and Adam Milner, and the coach is Terry Matheson. Now the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats, who were taken over by brand new owners yesterday, and providing they get the nod from the Rugby League next week, they will be in charge for the rest of this season at least. Blaymire is their fullback. Josh Beavers signed from Wigan, Christine, Aaron Murphy, Luke George, Kieran Hyde and Sam Obbs. In the forwards, Michael Korkidas, Julien Rinaldi, Paul Johnson, Dale Ferguson, Glenn Morrison, the skipper, and Tommy Lee. And the bench occupied here by Darryl Millard, Paul King, Kevin Henderson and Russ Spears. And the man who is the king of adversity, their coach, John Keir. Well, there are the Castleford Tigers. They are on their way out. Castleford, they lost Shenton to St Helens and Westerman to Hull in the close season. Two bright young things have gone, but plenty of new faces. And what a season of uncertainty faces the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. New owners, as I say, but they are perceived by some to be under the most threat when the licence laws come into force again at the middle of 2011. The referee is waiting for us, so too is our commentary team. Bill is joined this time by Paul, Brian and Terry, but Bill, first, it's all yours.
Thanks, Eddie. Good job. My pre-season training has been so intense. Another game and it's Wakefield getting us underway, and it's great spirit in the Wakefield camp, and spirit lifted by the fact that they have got these new owners, the spirit of 1873 group reaching a deal with the administrators, and that is good news for the Wakefield club. Of course, still things to be finalised, and that early penalty is not good news for Wakefield.
There's the penalty, the referee saying they're just laying on too long. Michael Korkidas involved in that. One thing they've got to do, they've got to be very disciplined. Relatively inexperienced side, and I'm sure John Keir pulls off many a shot wins. I'm sure he'd love to pull off one today against Castleford.
And John Keir had the happiest moment of his career here, probably, in 2005. One of the happiest moments, of course. Good one at Wembley as well. 2005, though, his whole side beats Leeds here in this stadium, but he's seeing his side, Wakefield, being penalised yet again. So James Child, who has stood no nonsense in pre-season games, I saw him in action at Craven Park when he really caned an indisciplined Salford side in their friendly against Hull Kingston Rovers. At least that was his view of their discipline. It wasn't a view that Ray Cashmere shared, and it cost him a red card. But it's Castleford looking to capitalise on these early penalties, and Ryan Hudson just short of the try line there as he's tackled by desperate Wakefield defenders. It is a very raw Wakefield side in places. The pack maybe not so green, but out wide certainly there's a lack of experience. Rinaldi in with the tackle, one of the experienced Wakefield players, but it's Castleford in possession now, and with the fullback Richie Mathers, of course, well known from his Warrington, Wigan and Leeds days, and his days in Australia with Gold Coast. Now at Castleford, Tigers recruit, and Tigers looking to capitalise on this early possession and territory. Morrison, the Wakefield captain, in with the tackle. Korkidas was there as well. The little kick comes stabbing in, and Luke George watches that ball go dead, and Wakefield breathe a sigh of relief.
Done well to survive that first set. Two penalties right off the bat for Wakefield, and you've got to learn the lessons. If you lose collision, don't go back on, and you've got to go back all the time with James Child.
Wakefield happy to get their hands on the ball, and they get the penalty.
Well, he's consistent, James Child. Same for both sides, just lying on too long. Steve Snitch. The penalty where Paul Johnson earns that side in his eagerness to get up and play that ball.
On his foot, wait!
So Wakefield, having conceded 2 early penalties, now look to make progress, but Korkidas has a reception committee waiting for him. Wakefield supporters have travelled in good numbers, serve the Castleford Tigers fans and serve the Harlequins fans for that matter, and the Catalan fans, and that's a tremendous achievement when you think of the financial constraints that people are operating under at the moment. Price of fuel not the least of them. And it's a big effort. It's not a cheap weekend this, and the supporters have bought into it. That's a good kick, and it's causing problems for Mathers. Turned him round. He was happy to see that one go dead.
Very lucky there. Or maybe he has no, in fairness, maybe he's pulled out, confident that the ball was going to roll dead.
Impeccable judgment is what you're saying.
Yes, looks like it.
That's what Richie would say.
A lot of people are just expecting Castleford to just steamroller this Wakefield side, but I just think that a lot of these players, they've not got a lot of experience in playing first team, but they've just got to be, they've got to aspire to be the best that they can be and just raise the game to a different level today.
If any club can find a way through difficulty, it's the Wakefield. It's the Wakefield club. A lot of adversity over the last few years, and they always seem to keep finding a way back.
That ball's been spilled and the referee says play on. There was a Wakefield hand in there. And another penalty.
Well, I think he was saying that Paul Johnson made a play for that. He goes into the tackle. Paul Johnson, Michael Korkidas, saying the tackle's complete. The second effort on Hudson. Can't do that.
Well, Craig Hubie might be very fortunate to get that decision in his favour from the look of that.
Wait for his foot. Wait.
Hudson. That's with Oliver Holmes. Hudson directing operations. Points to the left, goes to the right. Hubie again. Rinaldi in with the tackle. These players know already from the way the referee Child has been whistling that they're going to have to be out of that tackle quickly. That is the whole intention this season from the officials, especially where the attacking player has earned that right. Now here come the Tigers, and in go the Tigers for the first try, and it's young Joe Arundel, the 19-year-old, who's filling the boots of Michael Shenton, now at St Helens, and Arundel gets the first try for the Tigers in front of their delighted supporters, finishing off a very slick move. Big boots to fill. The England international Shenton has gone, and Arundel has arrived.
There's a lot of people got a lot of big raps on Joe Arundel, but good vision from Castleford to just shift the ball to the right-hand side, held up the Wakefield defence, and they just couldn't complete here. It's just good hands, good quick hands. They just get on the outside of Luke George, and Joe Arundel goes in for the opening try for Castleford. They've got to talk, they've got to communicate a lot better, Wakefield. They've got to slide over and just push and just talk from the inside.
You got to give Ronnie Chase credit here. Ronnie Chase's effort with the ball to hold it up delays that Wakefield defence just enough to make it too difficult for them to get across to it. It's little subtleties when you do those plays. Every team in the country runs those plays. It's the little subtleties within that play that distinguishes the best from the last.
And Carnes, how hard is it for a winger to read that play and stay out and not come in on your man?
Well, it's difficult, though. You'd say he was 10 metres in as we see the touchline conversion.
Kirk Dixon has missed with that one, pushing it across the face of the posts.
You just see how isolated, just going back to Cole's point, you see how isolated they got. Castleford, the job they did on the Wakefield defence there was A1. As a coach, you'd be delighted with that.
Well, he made his debut as a 16-year-old Joe Arundel, but has had to wait for his first-team chance, a real solid first-team chance. And he's got the first points on the board for the Tigers here in Cardiff at Millennium Magic. Game 3, local rivalry. And always an intense rivalry between these two. The last time these two met here, Wakefield hammered the Tigers 54 points to 16 in 2008. So a bit of a score to settle on this particular pitch for the Castleford Tigers. in possession with Brett Ferris.
Good, move. Oh. Ball, move.
Nice.
Ball.
Jake Emmett gets to his feet to play the ball. Late change from the Tigers. Nick Fozzard was scheduled to play, their recruit from St Helens, but Fozzard withdrawn, so Emmett moved up to the starting lineup, and Paul Jackson, another seasoned campaigner, coming in on the bench for the Tigers. That kick is fielded by Matt Blameyer.
Real decent set, I thought, from Wakefield in defence then, Bill. Why? Because they were listening to the referee. He's shouting the call, it's held, it's moved, and they obeyed instruction.
Luke George felt that. Big hit from Craig Hubie.
Rattled, so that's a dominant tackle.
Well, this is where you've got to have a little look up and play with your eyes. Craig Hubie didn't miss him then.
Offside against the Castleford Tigers, not square, I beg your pardon.
Well, good talk from James Child. He said to Danny Orr straight away that you're not square, stay out of the tackle. You can just see he stood to the left, without giving the penalty away.
Danny Orr back at the club where he gave such long and good service before he went off on his travels to Wigan and then to Harlequins. Was at the Tigers from 1997 to 2003.
A massive player for them, Bill. He'll take a lot of the organisation trouble or worries off Rangi Chase's shoulders, allow Rangi Chase to express himself on the field. Danny Orr will revel in that leadership role on the field.
Here come Wakefield now. Obbs puts a little kick in, it's a good one, it's a great one, it could still come up for them. No, it's gone forward. Despite Josh Vivers thinking he'd squeezed in at the corner, I think Aaron Murphy has knocked that ball on. Head and feed it is to the Castleford Tigers.
You're right, Bill. Aaron Murphy just drops that ball. Knock on it, head and feed to Castleford. But they're very committed, Wakefield. They're running with some vim and vigour. And you've got to say that the way that the forwards have started this game, they've run over the top of Ryan Hudson, and they really hurt Ryan Hudson 2 plays before. And the old marbles have been rattling in his head. Well, there he is.
That is bad news for the Tigers. Ryan Hudson led to the sidelines. We've seen some injuries already here today. Of course, that Matt King incident, knee problem for King. We've seen Setamata Sarr carried off as well. Chris Bridge with a problem, and now Ryan Hudson goes to the sidelines. It's been a pretty tough, uncompromising start to the season.
Well, people say you've got to be committed in defence, but when you've got the ball and you've got it under your arm and you've got to be committed in that run, you've got to want to win that tackle.
That injury to Ryan Hudson, what it does do, it gives us a chance to have a look at Adam Milner here. A lot of heard about him. Played in that game, that successful series against the Australians just before Christmas. Big things expected of him, and Terry Madison has spoken in pre-season. They expect him to do long minutes on the field.
Or with the kick, it's well, not one to his satisfaction, judging by the look on his face. It's not a bad one.
Oh, well, that's that calming influence. It goes into touch. They're trapping Wakefield 10 yards from their own line. He's now trying to rally his troops, Danny Orr. That's exactly what you want from your leader.
Wakefield then, many people thinking that they wouldn't even get to the start line of this season, such were their problems going into administration. Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs breathing down their necks, but they've kept them at bay, and now they have got new owners who've sealed a deal with those administrators. The RFL have rubber-stamped it up to a certain extent. I think there are 1 or 2 issues to be resolved, not least how many points they'll be deducted for going into administration. Crusaders deducted 4.
It can't deduct them more than 4 points. It's ridiculous if they do.
Well, there are reasons why they could, apparently. But this isn't the forum to go into those.
No, but let's give some credit to the Wakefield players as well. All that's been going on off the pitch, but they've still turned up.
They're right, and I tell you what I like about this, Terry, the speed of the play, the ball is a little bit sharper in this game than in anything we've seen so far today. The referee is really on his game, he's giving clear instruction. The players are responding to it after the first set where he set his standards. And as we speak, someone goes back on. The pace of this game is I think, where the Super League bosses want it to be. That's why they sharpened up around the ruck.
Rangi Chase thumps the ball into touch. Castleford happy to keep a hold of Rangi Chase. There were 1 or 2 other Super League clubs sniffing around their star player.
One, move.
He's an exciting player. He just looks for that disjointed line. He'll take anybody on.
Two, move.
The Tigers right in the middle of the field. Adam Milner is in there. He was the captain of the England Academy side in that successful series against the Aussie schools when they beat them. First time since 2006 they'd done the job against them, and now Castleford again looking to spin this ball wide. Still players to come back for the Tigers. No Ryan McGoldrick out there, and Richard Owen, of course, still on his way back from that badly broken leg. Orr shovels the pass up for Emmett, right in front of the post now for the Tigers as Orr finds Chase. Chase stabs a little kick in, it's well covered, but they'll get the ball back from the goal line dropout.
Well, that's a perfect kick from Rangi Chase. You can see he just takes the ball to the line, he pulls up the Wakefield defence, and then he just slots it in behind, trying to put pressure on Matt Blairmeyer. Blairmeyer come up with the ball, saved the try.
28 years of age, Matt Blairmeyer, very experienced player. Goal line dropouts into the arms of Richie Mathers.
One, move.
Mathers sends Emmett away.
Hold. Go. Two, move.
Is Holmes now. Holmes is tackled about 25 metres out. Milner for Rangi Chase, and that's a great break from Jones, and then Jones loses his footing. Milner was trying to get there in support. Milner's pass is not a good one, but it's well picked up by Hubie. Hubie, that's his great hands. Oh, and well, it was great hands. And Mathers thumps the ground in frustration because another chance has gone begging.
If they could have tucked that ball in, this would have been a certain try. Ball over the top from Danny York, and Richie Mathers just loses possession.
10 metres.
But good build-up play from Castleford.
Nice and tight, loose forward.
They're earning the right to play in the middle of the park, then they're starting to look and try and play on the edges.
Was Richie Mathers guilty of looking for his name in lights before he'd actually got hold of the ball there? The try line was begging.
I think you could be right, Bill.
Offside.
But early in the season, a little bit of rustiness, not surprisingly, but not a lot of rustiness from these two sides. They really have hit the ground running here. Obbs now, he was taken high there. Hubie looks at referee James Child and says he's only a little guy.
Well, he didn't miss him, that's what referee James Child said. But just the footwork, just going against the big man. Planted his feet, just stuck his arm out, just trying to get hold of Sam Obbs as quick as he could.
Paul King on the field.
Do you know, they have got some good senior players. You look at Glenn Morrison there, who's taking the ball, and Julian Rinaldi, who's at dummy half.
Rinaldi, who came to the club's rescue really last season when Tavita Liolatu had to go home, and Rinaldi is still there.
Hubie's banged somebody again, Bill. He's up for this one.
That's sloppy from Wakefield. They've given up possession.
Still got hold of his arm, Kieran. Let go of that.
And then they've conceded the penalty.
Real sharp from the referee. Lost collision, went back on, grabbed a wrist, tried to pin him to the floor. As it bounces up, a little bit of movement from Dixon. Just watch him go back on and grab the arm. Sharp for the referee to see that. But to be fair, from the work they've done in the off-season, they're not going to miss things like that.
Go.
I can't believe it, he's praised the referee twice.
Let's go down to the sidelines. Rod Studd on duty.
Yeah, just an update on Ryan Hudson for you, Bill. He's come off with that neck problem, and he seems to trap a nerve in his neck during that tackle, and they're just making sure they've got all the movement in the arms and the shoulders and everything. He's in a lot of pain, Ryan Hudson. They've got it all iced up, and they're just keeping an eye on that, the Castleford Tigers medical staff.
Hudson up against one of his former clubs, and he's a durable character, is Hudson. Ever present for the Tigers last year in all their 28 games. So it takes something to put him off the pitch. Stuart Jones, a similar sort of player. Takes some bangs and bruises, gets up on his feet again. Or spinning away from trouble, but eventually is collared by Paul King. And then Rangi Chase hoists this one, and Blairmeyer moves into position to claim it. Luke George is trying to shepherd him. The ball has come down for Milner. Milner keeps it alive, and somehow it's picked up, and Wakefield bring it away.
Well, the rescue, that Josh Beavers it was, the man who just swept round the back. He come round from the wing position, could see that Matt Blaymire was going to be put under some pressure in this Castleford side.
The end of that last set, Bill, shows you the coordination that Castleford have in their halves. Danny Orr ran the ball and got tackled. What did Rangi Chase do? Realised it was last, stepped up, as is his role, took charge of the kicking duties and put a good bomb up. It's great coordination, knowing who's going to take charge of that kick on the last play.
Jones is penalised for hand in there at that play the ball.
It does frustrate players at the start of every season. It frustrates fans, frustrates commentators when there's penalties given away, but if this is the new rule now, you've got to make sure that they run with it.
Not new rule, new interpretation. Same rule, different emphasis. Loose collision, you're in trouble.
Another penalty conceded, and James Child has summoned Steve Snitch for a word.
Time off. Attempted chicken wing, the incident goes on report. Danny? Yeah, the incident goes on report. We've got too many penalties. Come on, talk to your players. Chicken wing.
Well, and that has gone on reports.
Well, it's because Snitch comes from the side and then he tries to turn over Johnson. That's the interpretation. That's a good run from King.
Castleford ahead by 4 points to 0, but this is an opportunity for the Wildcats to test the Tigers' defence for the first time really in this game. Rinaldi will fire over the line, and as he got the ball down, he saw the opportunity, the French international. And the bearded Wakefield Trinity Wildcats hooker didn't need a second invitation. The Castleford Tigers defence may be just guilty of switching off a little bit then, and Rinaldi spotted it. And the season campaigner Julien Rinaldi, 31 years of age, as I said, just joined the Wildcats last year as a stopgap player. He's still there now, and he's still effective.
Well, good read by Julien Rinaldi. He pumps it right, he sees that Danny Orr falls for it, who's at marker. He just pops out, he steps off his right foot, he gets low to the ground and powers over the line. If you give a penalty away like Steve Snitch did, you've got to make sure you switch on and defend your line. And that was good play by Julien Rinaldi.
Interesting, isn't it, that how many times does a player give a penalty away, then invariably it's the same player who misses the big tackle. The concentration just goes.
Josh Vivers, son of the former St Helens favourite Phil Vivers, with this conversion attempt. Phil now on the coaching staff at the Salford City Reds. Josh Vivers flying the flag for the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats, misses with that one. He's an effective goal kicker, Josh Vivers. Kicked 5 from 5 in their pre-season friendly against the Dewsbury Rams, but Julien Rinaldi has scored to bring the scores level. Well, John Keir will be happy with that.
Well, and you can be sure his opposite number, Terry Madison, he'll be mentioning that try at half-time. Very, very disappointed for a team when they concede so close to the line. Switching off at marker, as Terry pointed out, assuming that Rinaldi was going to pass the cardinal sin.
Well, a lot of people ahead of the season thought Wakefield would be the whipping boys, if they even made it to the start line this season because of those problems they've had. But they've got a coach who revels in adversity, John Keir. When the chips are down and everybody has written his side off, he likes nothing better to prove everybody wrong. And he'll have got his team absolutely pumped up for this one against their arch rivals. And he loves this ground as well, Cardiff. He's got good memories of here. And meanwhile, Steve Snitch has paid for that incident because he's been replaced. So obviously, or perhaps, his coaching team taking a pretty dim view.
It's not always
Snitch just sitting behind Ryan Hudson.
It's not always about the big play that'll get you the result. You've got to make sure that your kick chase is perfect, and Wakefield know that they've just got to keep kicking long, turning Castleford around, asking the big forwards to retreat, bring the ball back. But again, John Keir won't be happy with that. Tommy Lee giving the penalty away. Good initial contact from Tommy Lee. He's called, he has to move, he has to get up.
St Helens team in the ground, waiting for their turn. Kieran Cunningham.
On the line.
Saints fans probably seen that, thinking, oh, Kieran's there.
He's back as well. He's back for one more.
Michael Shenton watching his old teammates. Mixed thoughts, I'm sure.
Move back. Go.
It's going to be strange. It really is going to be strange. See Kieran Cunningham on the sidelines and not out there driving this Saints side forward. But it's Castleford Tigers driving forward. Rangi Chase just losing his footing, and I wonder if this pitch is just getting a little bit greasy now. There's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. The roof has been shut all day. There's a lot of bodies in here. The temperature may be hotting up a little bit. One or two players losing their footing.
Move back up, Paul. Go.
It's Rangi Chase now. Chase stabs the kick in. Nobody on the follow-up to threaten, but it's just getting out of trouble.
That's brilliant.
Sam Obst it was who weaved his way out of trouble, and then nowhere near square. More like a triangle.
There's little plays sometimes, Bill, that don't get credit. The difference between that conceding a dropout and making that extra effort to get into the field of play, win a quick play of the ball, that's tremendous work from the fullback.
And double it up, Brian, because he's got to quick play the ball in, got a penalty, relieves the pressure. Smart stuff.
Well, let's just beat them. Come on. You don't want me to take further action.
Well, it is good play from Sam Obst, the little man. He left a couple of players on the floor. He gets up in the speed to get out from dummy half.
Okay, on his foot. Wait.
Danny Orr, the latest to get talking to from James Child. Paul Johnson over the 40-metre line for Wakefield. Here is Glenn Morrison now. Paul King.
Move. Hands off the ball.
Hard, craggy characters in this Wakefield side.
Move.
As well as they might have some youngsters who are still finding their way, but they've got plenty of experience. And this is somebody in the sin bin, I think.
He warned them.
It's Joe Arundel, who's been given his marching orders for 10 minutes. James Child is trying to find his yellow card. It's somewhere there, he's got it. By which time Joe Arundel is almost at the sidelines. But James Child has warned them both. He warned Castleford just a few minutes ago.
He tried to work his way off the tackle. He tried to move it and slowly continue to hold the player as he moves himself back into position. You won't be allowed to do that this season on a win for the attackers.
If you lose the collision, I'll keep saying it, if you lose the collision, you lose the right to go back on and squeeze and be around the ball. You've got to win the air, win the big stuff up front, then you can turn them on the floor.
So they're down to 12 men. And they're on the back foot now, the Castleford Tigers. 25 minutes on the clock here as Johnson takes the ball and goes for the line. Paul Johnson, stretching out, couldn't quite get there.
Too long, a call move.
And gets another penalty. They were just lying on as Johnson was trying to get to his feet. Widders looks
on the line.
in bewilderment at the referee.
Paul Johnson has been absolutely fantastic in the opening 25 minutes.
Here he is again. Here he is again, Paul Johnson taking that tap. Tommy Lee in at the play the ball. Obst now. Here is Morrison back on the inside to Blaymire. Blaymire is collared. It's another penalty. They are being caned to the Castleford Tigers. Their supporters are furious away at the other end of the ground. And Danny Orr is invited to have another chat with the referee.
Look, I don't want to penalise all day the same way you don't want me to penalise, all right?
As I said,
I'm giving you the message.
he was standing no nonsense in the pre-season friendlies, James Child, and he's brought that into the Super League season as per instructions. So here is Paul King, take the first tilt at the Castleford Tigers line.
Go.
They're right on their own try line now. Obst, and they're over the line as well. And it's Dale Ferguson who's got that ball down. And Castleford Tigers have paid the price for their indiscipline rather. They've been talked to, they've had a player sin-binned, and Wakefield have taken full advantage. And Dale Ferguson, only 22 years of age.
Well, it's again, they give 2 penalties away, and they concede 2 tries on the back of them. And just good play by Dale Ferguson. He hits a real good line. He comes back against the grain. They're just missing. Even if the ball would have been out the back to Glenn Morrison, I'm sure he would have been in for a try. But good run by Dale Ferguson to cross for that.
Look at Sam Obst's eyes. Sam Obst, when he threw that ball, was looking, as you say, at Glenn Morrison out the back, and threw the short ball. It threw everybody. Again, the subtleties in a play. Well done, Sam Hobbs.
Vivas round the corner kick for him. Favours his kicking style. Angle not too severe. He's got points on the board, and Wakefield Trinity Wildcats 4-0 down early on against the Castleford Tigers, now lead by 10 points to 4. Dale Ferguson, the try scorer.
This play is run like Glenn Morrison is going to get the ball. It's a wonderful short pass decided on by Sam Hobbs.
Only his third appearance since June last year for Dale Ferguson. Could get a bit more game time this season. Obst, that ball went backwards to his relief. Here is Paul Johnson, came here from St Helens. Johnson has shown up well in this game so far. Vivas slips as he goes infield. Jackson makes the tackle. Here is King.
Held! Release! There you go.
Obst to the try scorer Ferguson.
Stop! Move!
And Tommy Lee
Surrender!
finds Paul Johnson. Johnson up to halfway, got a bang from Stuart Jones as he went to the ground there. I think he's already got blood on his lips. Johnson got a cut in the mouth by the look of things. Here is Mathers now.
Again, just simple plays, bringing the ball away from the line, kicking the ball down the field, asking Castleford to bring it away. See if Wakefield can force the mistake. Oh, that's a penalty.
And Youngquest did not like that. Well, he's back on his feet to protest about the treatment he received there.
Nick, back away, Nick!
For those Youngquest and Ferguson, I'm not sure they're swapping phone numbers.
Just identify the tackler, if you can. Just the tackler.
You can see that they pick him up, they go over the top, but then that was it. He knew that Aaron Murphy would give the penalty away. Not a dirty player, Aaron Murphy, but then watch the reaction of Richie Mathers as he comes in.
Back up. We've got Glenn Morrison coming in.
He more or less starts that fracas.
Glenn Morrison coming in. Aaron Murphy.
And then you've got Dale Ferguson who runs him.
You know, the Richie Mathers part in that issue there was actually worse than the tackle, because if it is a turnover, a spear, and you're landing badly on your neck, the last thing in the world you need is anyone to go in.
Hand goes between the legs, it's lifted, it's a dangerous tackle. Okay, leave it. Richie, come here, please.
Castleford will get the penalty.
Richie!
But Richie Mathers is going to get a talking to from James Child.
Yeah. Richie, what we don't need you is coming in, getting involved. Okay, you've already got the penalty. Just leave it at that. Okay, I appreciate that, but it doesn't help the situation by you coming on.
Message being he didn't need to intervene there.
Well, Aaron Murphy straight away knew that he'd give the penalty away. And good work by James Child, the referee.
Well
having worked with Richie Mathers.
Castleford Tigers still down to 12 men. Still behind on the scoreboard. Started so positively. But it's been Wakefield who've come back strongly. Take the lead in this game. 10-4 up to the half-hour mark.
Get the knees out, Paul!
Here is Orr. About 20 metres out now.
Go.
As Jones plays the ball. Rangi Chase.
Move!
Paul King stepping away from the tackle. The players really are alert to the dangers they face now, and that's a great try.
It wasn't held.
It's Brett Ferris who's got over there, and he's managed to smuggle the ball over the try line despite the attentions of the Wakefield defenders. And Brett Ferris, playing in the centres for the Castleford Tigers, gets his first try of the season. And despite being down to 12 men, the Tigers have come back strongly, and again the penalty, well, they've taken full advantage of that.
Well, it's penalties what's hurting both sides. There's the penalty from Aaron Murphy. You've got to make sure you defend this set of 6, and this is good work. That's a fantastic ball to get it away to Ferris, who goes over for the try. But good read. Rangi Chase knew exactly what he had to do. He kept that ball alive, and Brett Ferris was just too big and too strong.
They'll be very disappointed with themselves. They had the numbers to deal with that. Sam Hobbs, though, made the decision to come in on Rangi Chase That gave Castleford the overlap. You do have to have faith in the guys inside you. He probably thought the tackle was finished, wasn't. Rangy Chase slipped a beautiful ball out, score a try.
Once a Wakefield player, Brett Ferris, and a Bradford Bulls player as well. Now Kirk Dixon.
Time on.
Back to full fitness, Dixon. And a prolific point scorer, a good goal kicker, but that one off targets, yet to hit the target. But Castleford Tigers 8, Wakefield Trinity Wildcats 10, the scoreline here now. Not looking particularly impressed, the Castleford Tigers coach.
And this passage of play just shows that you've got to make sure that you're disciplined against this Castleford side. That was a fantastic ball from Rangy Chase to get the ball away to Brett Ferris.
Big things expected of this Castleford Tigers side, the way that Terry Madison has reshaped things. Another penalty, another scramble. Well, it's getting scrappy, this game.
Well, this time it was Christine who lifted the Castleford player.
Captain, guys. Captain. Time off.
James Childs,
okay, you need to
good job, he's a good conversationalist, doing a lot of chatting. Having a word with the Wakefield captain, Glenn Morrison there.
Well, Wakefield are just trying to be as physical as they can in the tackle, trying to hurt the Castleford ball carriers. Obviously, it's got to be legal.
Old habits die hard. Teams have got away with various tactics, and they've trained hard.
There are some ones where you can see that they're struggling with the interpretation. There are other ones that are dumb. They're just plain dumb, and we've seen that in a couple of games today. They're the ones that will really disappoint the coaches. A lazy effort to try and go in again when you really know you shouldn't be in there.
Go. Move.
Milner plays the ball. Here is Danny Orr. Holmes.
Move. Hold the 10. Wait!
He's looking to get to his feet and play the ball quickly. Can't do so, but eventually does. Rangy Chase. Chase, the dummy from him. Great ball out wide, and Youngquest in at the corner. He's a bit of a pin-up boy, isn't it, Youngquest? And that was a good-looking try from the former Crusaders winger, Nick Youngquest. First try of the season from him. Great ball finding him out wide. And back-to-back tries from this Castleford Tigers side.
How good is Rangy Chase? Whenever he gets the ball, he creates chances for himself, for his teammates. Everybody's looking at what Rangy Chase is doing with that ball. And Josh Beavers was just totally caught out. He lost sight of where Nick Youngquest was. Nick Youngquest was hugging the touchline. Again, he comes in. He's not got the faith of the men on the inside of him. And that's good play by Nick Youngquest, but fantastic play by Rangy Chase. Skirts across the defensive line, pops the ball over the top, and Nick Youngquest is there to score the try.
Youngquest, who spent some of the close season in New York doing some modelling work, appeared in a lifestyle magazine over there. Has been quite a hit, apparently. There's not many rugby league players who could have got away with that sort of job.
There's none on this panel, I'll tell you that.
I was just going to say, they've all retired, haven't they?
Kirk Dixon. Now, chances are he'll kick this one from way out wide. He's missed two already. This the most difficult yet. No, he's missed with that one. Hangs his head in disgust. But the Castleford Tigers reclaim the lead. They were 4-0 up. They went behind 10-4. Now they're ahead by 12 points to 10.
Not only is Rangy Chase a talented ball player, but he's also got that crucial element of speed as well. It's his speed can get him out of trouble, and his speed can also put him in wonderful positions.
The longer he ran with that ball then, Brian, he mesmerised the young winger, and as you know from that position, it's very difficult there to make that split decision, do a come out or do a jam in.
He skipped across 3 defenders, Cole. That caused all sorts of trouble in the defensive line.
So Castleford Tigers have the ball, but not for long. They've lost possession. It was Jonathan Walker who couldn't keep a hold of it. Head and feet to the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats.
Mistake by the big man. Aaron Murphy was all over him, just trying to pull that ball in. Jonathan Walker just loses possession.
Outside legs, fellas, forward. Tight heads up, loose forward. Tight heads up, lock.
Head and field to Wakefield, just waiting for somebody to arrive to complete the scrum.
Come on, guys. Outside legs forward, please. Outside legs forward. That's the one.
Aaron Murphy does that.
Out.
Well, can they recapture the lead before half-time? Into the last 5 minutes of the first 40, an eventful, at times scrappy, at times ill-tempered. First 40 minutes. Milner went looking there. Morrison spins, does a lap of Dean Widders it was. That takes some doing. Little chip kick, and in the end Youngquest bats that ball dead.
Unlucky, but Aaron Murphy putting pressure on Nick Youngquest. There's just too much weight on this kick. But the urgency, Beavers pulled back. He was called offside by the referee. In fact, he's penalised him.
Okay, on the line, guys. On this boat. Wait. Go.
So the penalty, here is Widders.
One. Move. Go.
On the 40 metres line, plays the ball. Milner now.
Two.
Up to the halfway. The pace, not surprisingly, has gone out of this game. Really did start like a house on fire, this one, these two, especially by comparison with the earlier two games. But unfortunately, it's just lost a bit of its momentum, a lot of it down to the penalties that have been conceded. The clock is stopped again. And he wants another word, as James Child.
Well, this time saying that Henderson stripped the ball off big Jonathan Walker.
Listen to me. I pulled you out already and spoken to you. Now I'm speaking to you again. Speak to your players before I do. Time on.
So another Castleford Tigers penalty. Still time for the Tigers then to maybe extend their advantage.
On his
as
foot.
Rangi Chase drills that ball into touch, and they're on the 20-metre line. Well, at one of the 20-metre lines. It'll be the 22-metre line that they were on for the Union boys.
Go, get the knees out, Tommy!
But now they're inside the 20, and it is Rangi Chase.
Help! Release!
Chase is tackled. Gets to his feet quickly to play the ball. He managed to escape the clutches there. Milner fancies his chances. He's driven back by the tacklers. Wakefield defending their line.
Go.
Here's Rangi Chase again. A little skip from him, then gets the pass away to Orr. Orr crowded down, I think he was, by his own player. Comes back across the field. Finds Stuart Jones. Jones takes him on.
Move, back up.
Four tackles gone.
Go.
Coming up to the last minute of this first 40 here. That's a great pass. And here is Orr, and Orr trying to smuggle the ball over the line. He's got the penalty. They were offside, and it's going to be another sin binning, I think. This time it's a Wakefield player who's on his way to the bin. Now, who's it going to be? Is it Sam Obst? I think it is Sam Obst, who's off in the back of the field of play. Obst is already off the field over the dead ball line, Obst, in fact. So here is Widders, and Widders for the line, and Widders is over. Or is he? It's going to be a video ref decision, but it looked to me as though Widders, who's got great upper body strength, had the power to get that ball over the line.
Well, James Charles just asking the video referee, does he get over the line and ground this ball? It was man on man. Should never have conceded this try if it's scored by Dean Widders.
No problem with that. I think that's a try.
Well, it looks like he gets over the line, has control of the ball. He can't wait back and let Dean Widders come up with the play that he wants to run. You've got to get up, you've got to put pressure on him. That looks like a try.
Steve Ganson, the video ref, a quick decision from him. And Dean Widders who got 2 tries in the 40 points to 16 win against Wakefield last year, gets another one this season with a forceful try. And these two sides are paying the price for their indiscipline. A penalty conceded, or back-to-back penalties conceded by Wakefield. And Dean Withers exacting full retribution there.
Well, it's alarm bells as soon as you give a penalty away. As I said before, you've got to defend that next set. Richie Mathers taps the ball, gives it to Big Man, he takes it to the line, he just goes round Ferguson. So Ferguson just holds back, he lets Dean Withers run the play that he wants to run instead of getting up in his face and putting a bit of pressure on him.
Now then, can Kirk Dixon land one? Furious with himself after that last miss. This one looks better, he's on target. And as half-time approaches, the Castleford Tigers lead 18 points to 10 against the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. And a big contingent of Tiger supporters delighted with the way their side have responded, because they had to come from behind in this first half. Did the Castleford Tigers 10-4 down at the break? They lead by 18 points to 10.
Yeah, great first half from two fierce local rivals. They really have cranked up the volume here at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. And Castleford with an 8-point advantage as they trudge from the field and head for the dressing room.